Their blood is now on your hands. Now, do you still think you're doing what you need to do for the animals okay? Are you still going to have that sassy attitude now that you think about it in those terms? But you don't think about it in those terms because you're selfish. Hey everyone!
Hey, welcome back to the channel.
We've got a mukbang video for you today.
We do, my goodness. A mukbang means it's an eating show. So the whole idea is we eat, you watch us eat. We can't watch you eat, but...
We're eating together, virtually.
Absolutely. So pause this video, go and get yourself a vegan meal and come back and eat with us.
Now, if you don't like watching people talk and eat at the same time, then this style of video is not for you. It's not going to work for you. We've got other formats on the channel if you want to check those out.
But if you do like eating and talking, you're in the right place.
You are.
All right, today's lunch.
Today we've got some roast chicken by Plant Asia.
Yeah.
Plant
chicken.
Yeah, very good product, this one. This is made mainly from, hang on one second, what is it? Wheat, yes. We've also got some brown jasmine rice and some stir-fried mixed vegetables there, which we did with no oil, and we've got some edamame beans as well. Very nice meal. We've got a dressing, which is a tahini dressing. I've got some tahini, some garlic powder, some cayenne pepper, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, soy sauce,
You're looking at me, I don't know.
and maple syrup. I think that's everything.
It was supposed to be peanut satay.
But I grabbed the tahini instead of the peanut butter. Otherwise, it's the same base.
The jars look the same.
Yeah. By the way, this has got 24 grams of protein per 100 grams. So that's equivalent to beef. So... fantastic. And no cholesterol and very low in saturated fat, less than 0.1 of a gram.
And no dead animals on this plate.
Exactly.
No dead animals. That's the most important thing.
There we go.
Okay? So today, wait, we should take a bite first.
Yes, and let us know in the comments what you're eating. Share your recipe ideas with others or meal ideas. Don't have to be recipes. There you go.
Tahini.
Oh
my God, my heart.
Grab it.
My stomach just dropped. Don't you hate that feeling? Like, oh, it's going to go everywhere.
So today we're responding to some pretty bad news, really, actually.
Miley frippin' Cyrus. Honestly, if it wasn't for YouTube censorship, I would be swearing throughout this entire video.
Yeah, really upsetting. So, Miley Cyrus, I mean, if you don't know who Miley Cyrus is, you've been living under a rock. She's an A-list celebrity, obviously. She's got 115 million Instagram followers. She has the 19th most followed Instagram account. Think about it, there are billions of Instagram accounts. Well, there are billions of Instagram users and therefore billions of accounts.
So we actually, how this all came about is because we recorded a News Desk podcast episode just the other day. We finished recording and then a few hours later I was online and I saw the news that Miley Cyrus has stopped being vegan and has gone back to eating animals. And we were like, oh no, we missed out on this story to include in our podcast News Desk. And so we thought, well, we'll just have to make a response with this mukbang. So that's why we're doing this.
So here it is.
Bad timing, right? Okay, so first let's eat something before we get into it. I'm so disappointed. Like anyway, eating first and talking later.
By the way, just a tip, if you're new to plant-based eating and you're finding maybe the fiber's too much and maybe you get bloated, try eating some soluble fiber first, like well-cooked starches, like brown rice, for example. Eat that first before your more insoluble fiber, like your veggies, and that might help your digestion.
Thank you, Luca.
No worries. Well, these type of videos tend to attract not yet vegans. So, any little tips? Especially, you know, when you're going to talk about the type of stuff that we're talking about today with Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, actually this brand, Plant Asia, they also do duck.
Roast duck,
Plant duck, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And the chicken is very good too. So if you're in Australia, check them out. I don't know if they ship anywhere else around the world.
They're from Woolworths supermarket chain, one of the largest supermarket chains here in Australia. So, yeah,
really good products.
Woolworths.
And, you know, the taste of the plant chicken is really good. It's tasty, it's chewy. It's not exactly like chicken flesh, real chicken, but it is like close enough is good enough type thing, especially when it comes to saving a life. And it's just really delicious. So,
it is, and I think the duck is a lot closer.
The duck is like
really
almost identical. It's really close. Chicken not so much, but it just tastes really good. And it does have a chickeny flavour, I do find.
Yeah.
Do you think?
And packed with protein, as I said before.
Yeah. Yum. One more bite and then we'll get into it. I'm hungry.
Yum. Very good.
So, Miley Cyrus. Okay. No doubt, everyone's already heard this news. So she is interviewed on Joe Rogan's podcast, which is the #1 podcast show around the world. I should say, are we number 2?
It's the most listened to podcast in the world. So, you know, it's a huge platform.
Huge platform. And it had 4 million views in just a few days. So,
and that's going to
so
go
many people.
So much higher as well over
Yeah,
time.
oh, of course.
That's going to get into the tens of millions in a
Unfortunately.
few months, 100%.
So what does she do? She goes on this podcast and she says, and I quote, "I was vegan for a very long time and I've had to introduce fish and omegas into my life because my brain wasn't functioning properly." Oh,
Miley, your brain wasn't
Wow.
functioning properly going on Joe Rogan's podcast and announcing this to millions of people.
I just, mind blown. I just want to start by saying, poor animals, poor fish, poor animals. I'm so over these celebrities. I'm so over these influencers. Who was the last tweet?
There have just been so many.
So
I mean,
many.
I was thinking about
Maddie. What's her name? Maddie.
YouTubers like Maddie Limburner, Bonnie
Limburner?
Rebecca, or Lum.
What? I don't even know. Anyway,
I'm not sure yet.
Whatever.
Bonnie Rebecca, Kalal, Rawvana, Raw Alignment, selfish, self-centered human supremacists. Really
It's sickening. And the worst part is that they know better. They know what's going on. They know what's happening to animals or what's being done to animals.
We can all be excused for having been indoctrinated into speciesism and carnism, these invisible belief systems, when we don't know any better. But once we know better and we've seen how animals are abused for food, clothing, entertainment, testing, and the pet industry, you know, we have a moral obligation to change our behaviours.
There's no excuse. And the thing is, like, the reasons they go back, I know they're all different, and yet they're all kind of the same reason. It's health, and I do that in quotations because you don't need animal products to be healthy, and science has showed us that. There are so many people living a healthy vegan life for long periods of time.
Well, I'm going to get into some science later on, but no.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, they're just, and it's always the same kind of people. Do you notice?
Absolutely.
They're always either, like, as you said, A-list celebrities, right? Or they're influencers that have a health focus.
And a lot of them have disordered eating habits as well.
Yeah, they do. Or, you know, they're so focused on, like, being super, super fit and being super skinny, or just having this account of, it's just so superficial. Like, there's nothing in there. The closest they get to an animal is they'll go to a sanctuary and hold a little animal and take some cute photos, and they'll wear like a, you know, Friends Not Food t-shirt, and that's it. And that's why we've been saying for so long in these response videos, if somebody is not talking about animal rights, if they're not an activist in some form more than just showing what they eat and just focusing on the diet aspect, I don't trust them. And even, I don't care who they are, I don't trust them.
You're right, but even then, John Venus, for example, he went back to eating animals, and he'd been to Los Angeles pig save vigils and seen the victims outside, you know, the slaughterhouse where they're about to go into the gas chambers and you know, be gassed and then
but have their heads chopped off. It's like a one-off, that's the thing.
And Rawvana, she also went to the Los Angeles Pig Save Vigil, but again, it can be a bit of a like
it's one-off, it's token, here I am. You know, I'm talking about consistency, long-term consistency. It's not just a one-off, it's not just something to put on your Instagram. It's
you know, God, and by the same token, there are many people who have never even been to a vigil or slaughterhouse or farm or what have you, and they might have been vegan 30, 40 years, just because they know that it's wrong. Like, human supremacy is evil, just like other forms of discrimination.
Like, in terms of who to trust as influencers, because so many people message us going, oh my God, you know, it's like, don't be surprised. I'm never surprised anymore.
No.
Never. And even I have seen some animal rights activists, so I'm thinking of one in particular more recently, that went back, but he had an eating disorder.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about animal rights activist who doesn't have an eating disorder. How come none of us go back?
Yeah.
You know, how come none of us have all these health problems?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Just, you know, eat enough food. Eat enough food, people. You know, we're showing you how to do it. We've got 61, this is, I think, mukbang number 62. we've got a playlist. You can check it out on a channel. We show you how much over the last 6.5 years we've eating consistently.
Mind you, we've been vegan for 9 years now. We just clocked over 9 years. And we say the same thing, like almost every video, every response is the same thing. Anyway, we've gone off on a tangent.
You're either supporting animal abuse or you're not. And there's no need to. You know, there's not a single nutrient that we need from animal foods that can't be derived from plant foods. Or a supplement in the case of B12.
Let's go back to Miley. Do you like that little rant? What are we, 5 minutes in? Okay. So she goes on Joe Rogan's podcast. She needs to eat fish and omegas for her brain to function properly.
She claims.
She claims. 4 million views in a couple of days, so this is just blown up.
So she was living vegan for 6 years from 2013 to 2019.
Yeah.
She even got a vegan tattoo.
I know, that's what's amazing. Like,
That's something you tend to only do if you're very serious.
Yeah, like she would be the one celebrity where I would go, okay, I was kind of surprised when we heard this news because she had put posts up, not recently, but years ago. And the not recently part was where I was a little bit suspicious.
Yeah.
But the fact that she got a vegan tattoo, I mean, we don't even have a vegan tattoo. We're that vegan couple. And we don't even have a vegan tattoo, you know? So that's like pretty committed, full on. I assume she's had it removed, I don't know. Anyway, I was looking at, I want to put this screenshot up. This was really sad as we're doing some research for this video. And just look, this is from Plant Based News' website. Look at the progression. So, you know, she starts off, she's praised for speaking out for animals. Oh no, the first one was the tattoo.
The tattoo, that was
right, that
3
was
years ago.
2017. And then 2018, she's praised for speaking out for animals. And then 2020, ditches veganism.
And announces it to millions of people. That's the thing.
So
It's not just that these people ditch a vegan diet or a vegan lifestyle, but they actually make it a million times worse by talking about it to huge audiences on their platforms.
Yeah.
You know, millions of people.
In this case, on Joe Rogan's platform, which is like even worse because he has such a
anti-vegan agenda,
harnessed following. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, it's bad that she's come out and done this, but what is she supposed to do? Lie? Like at some point, you know, they have to say, hey, I'm eating animals because vegans reference them all the time.
Well, don't eat animals. Just, you know, do a little bit of research and work out where you can get a nutrient that you think you need. Because, mind you, we'll talk about it in a minute. She hasn't had any tests or anything.
Anyway, so we've got a little script here with our notes. Let's follow this to stay on track. So, basically her ex-husband, Liam, she said offered her grilled fish at home. And so he's gone back to eating animals. We knew that a little while ago. And she said that she cried for the fish when she was eating what he grilled for her. She cried for the fish. Now,
who he grilled for her?
Well, yes, sorry, who he grilled.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, she was so sad for the fish. And I thought, well, you know, like at that point, don't you go, no, this is going against my everything, my intuitive
moral compass.
Yes,
I'm going to look into this a bit further. Surely,
right?
Fish can't be the only source of omega-3s. I'm sure I've been vegan 6 years now. I'm sure I've heard someone say somewhere along the way that we don't need anything from animals and we can derive everything from plants. Maybe I just need to Google, or maybe I need to, you know, hey, I'm an A-list celebrity. I'll just talk to a plant-based doctor in Hollywood or
not that you even
LA
need to be an A-list celebrity. Like,
of course, you just Google it. I'm saying
I know.
she has less excuse
all the resources in the world
than anyone.
I know.
Yeah.
And so she said it hurts her to eat fish. And I was thinking, well, it actually hurts the fish a hell of a lot more than it hurts you, Miley. You're not the one having your head chopped off. You're not the one being pulled out of your home and suffocated to death. That's what it's like for fish when they're not in water. It's the equivalent for us is like suffocating. So, yeah, it hurts the victim a lot more than her. She is not the victim. Now, what's really interesting is that
I guess the equivalent would be for us would be drowning.
To be drowning.
And
yeah.
Them being
so you're suffocating.
pulled out of water and suffocating is the equivalent of us drowning. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, the weird thing is that her vegan story is she went vegan because of her blowfish. She went vegan because of fish.
That's so rare, isn't it? You know,
right?
Because fish can often be harder for people to make that connection with because they're not land animals. They're out there on the sea. If you don't have any connection to the sea, if you're not living by the sea, plus they're under the water anyway. And we don't see the huge ocean fishing trawlers. Typically,
you can't like pet them and cuddle them and get closer to them the way you can to land animals.
I mean, you can pet them.
Yeah, but it's rare. I know there are some videos on YouTube. It's really sweet. But it's rare.
It's very rare. So they're often the forgotten species, if you like, and yet they're the most exploited. Well, that's why they're the most exploited.
So she was actually on TV, one of those late night shows, and she was telling her vegan story, which was beautiful, on TV years ago, about her blowfish, and now she's gone back to eating fish, and it's just like,
that
really?
was so powerful and positive for animals at that time to be using her platform to talk about fish in that way as individuals, which they are, just like our families, cats and dogs, whom we love and adore. But then this is so the opposite, isn't it, Steve?
It kind of just negates everything she's said back then and everything she's done over the years. It's like it cancels it out for me and probably for others too.
Yeah, people think, if Miley Cyrus can't do it, I can't do it. There's no hope for me. You know what I mean?
Right, and you shouldn't be doing it because of anybody. It's not whether she can or she can't. It doesn't matter if it's Miley, it doesn't matter if it's the Queen, the President, your next door neighbour or a YouTuber. You do it for the animals, you don't do it for anyone else. And you don't stop doing it for anyone else.
You do it because you acknowledge that human supremacy is evil, just like other forms of discrimination.
Yep.
Which we have all agreed are evil.
Oh. I need a bigger plate. I need a tray. A rice overboard. So, where are we up to?
So, Joe Rogan asked, as you said earlier, she claimed she had to introduce fish and omegas into her life because her brain wasn't functioning properly. Now, Joe Rogan asked what veganism did to her brain, which is if he said that,
he said, what did veganism do to your brain?
Yeah, so what's that? That's very leading?
It's leading. It's so leading. We're going to talk about him later on, but I'm just going to share.
Anti-vegan, huge anti-vegan. And Miley replied, Now I'm so much sharper than I was, and I think that I was at one point pretty malnutrition. Now at that point, Miley, I don't think your brain is as sharp as you claim it to be right now, because you can't be malnutrition. You can suffer from malnutrition. You can be malnourished. I'm pretty sure you can't be malnutrition. No, you can't. And look, I know she just made a mistake. We make mistakes all the time. Do. That's I mean, I'm dyslexic, so I'm constantly making mistakes. But I just found it quite ironic, incredibly ironic. I felt like that was a little bit of karma right there. Yeah, you just demonstrated to the world that you're not as switched on as you think you are just because you're eating a dead body from the sea. Sorry. So, in terms of her brain, she tells Joe about how she had a head injury when she was 2 years old. She was riding on her motorbike with her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus. She was 2 and he had her in a backpack. And he ducked to avoid a low-hanging branch, but she didn't, obviously, and it hit her in the head. And massive head injury. I mean, I don't know if she had partial brain damage because of that, but it's definitely, or it was a serious head injury, and it's something that's affected her throughout her life. So you can definitely say that her cognitive function would be affected by this accident as a toddler. No, there's possibility, isn't there, at the very least? Of course. I mean, she raised it after all, didn't she? In that context. You know. Then secondly, her lifestyle. So, we're talking about an A-list celeb here. We're talking access to so much money and fame, and what comes with that is, have you watched a movie? Drugs, And you don't even have to watch a movie. She was open about her drug taking. Yeah. She always has been. That's right. And Vegan Gains made a video where he showed a clip of Miley snorting something at some point. That was on YouTube, wasn't it? Yeah, she's done a host of different drugs from a very young age. I mean, she was famous as Hannah Montana at like 12. Yeah. And she said she was doing drugs during, the Hannah Montana years. So you're talking, what is she now, 27? Yeah. You're talking about a long time of a lot of drugs that she has not hidden. Plus alcohol, plus, as you said, everything that goes with that kind of lifestyle. Late nights, partying, just the opposite to how every regular person watching this lives. That affects how your brain functions. Yeah, absolutely. And then you've also... Of course. Oh, definitely. And she rattled off a host of drugs, didn't she? That she's... She has in some interviews. I think it was Richard. It was Vegan Gains. Like, you're talking a lot of weed. Cocaine. You're talking cocaine, Molly. What's that other one? I was thinking of stevia. That's not stevia. What is it called? Salvia, I think, or something. I can't remember. And stevia is the sweet stuff. Which one's the upper? I don't know. Anyway, our drug terminology and knowledge isn't awesome, but no idea. The point is, Miley's is.
Yeah, she's been on a lot of stuff for a lot of years. So,
do you think that could have had any impact on her cognitive function?
especially as a young person, as a teen developing, when your brain is developing and you're on all these drugs, that is going to affect how your brain is going to function for the rest of your life, how you feel.
Combined with late nights, partying, undersleeping, undereating, because a lot of celebrities, you know, especially A-list in the limelight, you know, the ideal is to be thin, because that's what, you know, social media and media wants. And so that can lead to undereating, and that's been the case with a lot of people who have abandoned a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
Not eating enough
They're
calories.
not getting enough calories, not getting enough nutrients, they don't feel good, obviously. Now this was interesting. I think this was from another article as I was searching. Also she's been sober for 6 months now, right? So that is telling us a lot. The article said Miley Cyrus has revealed she's 6 months sober after years of hard partying and drug use. So of course you're going to feel better once you get sober and once you change your lifestyle. Like,
it's like someone adopting the paleo diet, eliminating dairy and processed foods and going, oh my God, I feel so much better. Animal foods must be good for me. No, it's the fact that you got dairy and processed foods out of your diet and that's why you feel better.
Yeah.
Imagine if you took the animal products out as well and ate a mainly whole foods plant-based diet, you'd be even better again. It's all relative.
I just can't believe that she would dump all of her apparent ethics for animals and just go, like, did you not make the connection? I'm sober, I feel better. Oh, do you really think that eating plants for 6 years has, you know, had a negative impact on your brain, or was it all the drugs and partying that you did, Miley? Like,
It's a bit of a no-brainer. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Anyway, this article that I was looking at, a quote from her said, I did a lot of family history research, which has a lot of addiction and mental health challenges. So again, this background of addiction and mental health issues also affects how you develop it. It's, you know, you can't just dismiss those things and blame it on eating plants and not animal flesh and secretions.
And there are many people who have a platform on social media who abandon a plant-based diet, and a lot of them do have mental health issues or disordered eating habits.
Yep.
That just happen, isn't it?
It's a pattern. It's so predictable. Okay. So we've talked about all of that. Okay. So our question was, did she get blood tests? What did she do about this?
Isn't that the first thing you would do? Has she just come to the conclusion herself, oh, my brain's not functioning as optimally as I'd like, I must be deficient in omega-3s, I'm going to kill fish. Like, how did she arrive at that?
Yeah.
You know, at least you'd get a blood test, wouldn't you?
Also because you said that she felt malnourished. So were you actually malnourished? Did you get blood tests? Were you deficient in anything? Or were you just, you know, stoned all the time and high and whatever and feeling like crap and you're like, oh yeah, I'm malnourished. Well, are you or aren't you? You know, and what are you eating? Right, the devil is in the detail.
That's right.
So
I mean, Coca-Cola and French fries can be vegan.
Yeah, but you're going to be malnourished, aren't you?
No, yeah,
right?
exactly.
So the question is, why did she not take a plant-based algae supplement?
That's the thing. People think that fish synthesize omega-3s. They don't. They derive them from the plant algae that they eat. So we're actually killing the middleman when we could just go direct to the source ourselves and buy some plant-based algae supplements. If
she felt like she needed it.
Yeah, and if a blood test confirmed that she was omega-3 deficient. That's the thing. It's like protein, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
The animals that we eat, like chicken and cows, for example, and pigs, that we eat for protein, well, they're eating plants to get the protein. So again, let's go straight to the source and eat the plants directly rather than killing the middleman.
But we're filtering out nutrients through the dead bodies of animals. We don't need to do that.
And again, they're murdered. They're not dead. You know, they don't die.
That's right.
Yeah, they're dead, but they don't die of natural causes, which sometimes dead can imply.
We
need to call them. Yeah, we kill them.
Yeah, and call it for what it is.
Call it for what it is. And if we did it to another human, we would say murder.
Yeah.
But just because of a technicality, you know, murder only relates to humans, the act is the same. The action is the same.
That's right. That's right.
So Joe asked her what kind of a vegan diet she was eating. was she doing it right? So again, he's leading. He knows she's going to say yes.
Yeah.
Right. So he's like, I'll set her up
Yeah.
so that she does say yes, so that no one could say, oh well, she wasn't doing it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He
knows exactly what he's doing. She said she took all those supplements, took a protein shake, which tells us nothing really. So why not just add in an algae supplement is what we're thinking. If you're taking all your supplements, apparently.
What all supplements? And she made it sound like vegans need all these supplements.
We've been vegan 9 years and we only take B12 because that's the only supplement that you definitely need to take. Unless you're deficient in something else, then you take a supplement for it. But you get a blood test to confirm that anyway.
If you're living somewhere where there's not enough sunshine, you don't get out enough, you need a vitamin D supplement, take it. The only reason you need to take it is because that is added to like dairy products.
Yeah.
So when we take...
From lanolin, the oil from the skin of sheep.
So when we take animal products out of our diet, we are also sometimes taking out those vitamins or minerals or nutrients that are added to those products, and that's why we need to take them directly. Anyway, so yeah, if she's taking all these other things, then why not just take an algae supplement? That was just ridiculous. I'm like,
Wasn't it?
What are you saying, woman? Anyway, so no, you do not need to eat fish for DHA and EPA. Those things are important, absolutely, but you don't need to get them from an animal source.
Again, the fish are getting them from plant algae. Just go directly to plant algae supplements, the source.
And you don't necessarily need to take that supplement either.
That's
like
right.
We don't. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, I'm just saying that we personally don't.
Good sources of omega-3 in plant foods include hemp seeds, chia seeds, flaxseed meal. They're the main ones.
And
A little sprinkle of those on your oatmeal and fruit in the morning.
right. Now, interestingly, I have been vegan for 9 years, haven't eaten any land animals, any flesh for, how long were we? Would it be 12?
11 years.
Okay, so 11 years no meat.
11 and a half, probably.
Okay, 9 years vegan, but I have been allergic to fish my entire life. So I think when I was like 2 or 3 years old, they discovered that I was allergic. I was eating some fish fingers my mum and dad used to give me when I was a baby. And then one day I had a reaction to them and I got tested, and I'm severely allergic to all seafood or sea life. So I haven't had them my whole life virtually.
But to play devil's advocate, we acknowledge that that's just your personal anecdote, and Miley has her personal anecdote.
Yeah, I know. I'm
so
just
what we're going to do is
saying,
we're going to come to the science.
That's right. That's right. I'm just saying, like, you don't need fish.
Yeah.
Okay, for your brain to
Absolutely.
function well. I think my brain functions well.
So, why does she now feel better? Well, it could be the placebo effect, and this was discussed in a plant-based news article that featured a doctor, Dr. Matthew Nagra. He said something that should give pause is when someone notices drastic improvements with a small dietary change. Because at this stage, or as far as Miley is telling us, she's just introduced fish.
No, we don't know.
We don't know whether that's true. We don't know how much is introduced, right? But it appears that that's it at this point. At least that's what she's
That's what she said.
saying. I don't trust her, but
No, I don't either. But we also know that it wasn't like... This was a recent introduction. So you're talking like from last year. It's not like she's been eating animals for years and years and years. So
this screams placebo effect, says Dr. Nagra. On a physiological level, it's impossible for a few meals of seafood to drastically change omega-3 levels, especially with the brain. This becomes even more likely, the placebo effect that is, when a vegan has constantly been told that their diet is deficient by those who clearly have not seen the data. We can start to believe it. That being said, we have no clue what Miley was actually eating.
yeah. What we do know, again, is her lifestyle. Just heavy partying, a lot of drugs, drinking, late
Undersleeping,
nights.
under-eating.
So that's what we do know. So now what she... oh, do you see that?
I do, yeah.
On the laptop. So she was talking about how she's changed, obviously, her diet, but her lifestyle as well. She's doing more exercise. She's just changing things up.
She's sober now.
She's sober. That's the big thing, right?
Huge.
So you get sober, you do more exercise, you change your lifestyle.
I think you're going
you
to
start
notice
to
an
feel
improvement
better.
in your cognitive functioning.
Right? So which one is it, Miley? Do you think that maybe you could have continued not killing animals and changed your lifestyle and got sober and see if that was going to help how your brain feels and how you function throughout the day?
And even then, take it
Take
further.
a supplement.
Get a blood test, determine whether you're deficient, determine whether anything else is going on, and then just take a supplement.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
And I know we've heard this from other people before, you know, these ex-vegans who don't want to take the supplement because it's not the same or it's not natural and natural sources or whatever. They're so focused on health.
That's an appeal to nature logical fallacy anyway.
It is, but also, like, just take Miley's case. I mean, she's popping all these drugs anyway. Why can't you just take a proper supplement? You think any of the other stuff she's taking is natural?
Yeah. And
I mean, okay, you know, marijuana's a plant, obviously. And we're not saying that we're anti any of this. We're just saying, like, if she's going to put all this other stuff in her body, you'd think she could just take an algae supplement.
Well, she was already taking other supplements anyway as well.
Apparently, right? So what's one more?
So,
I'm so angry.
I know. She said she tries to eat for her brain type.
Oh my God.
And revealed that a pescatarian diet is where she's at. Now, this made me think, I think...
My brain type.
Yeah, I remember Chris Pratt, we made a response video to
Years ago.
a couple of years ago. He was talking about, was he talking about his blood or his brain? You know, like he was saying, he's got some kind of alien blood type or something.
Yeah, it must
So
be
that was blood, right? Now she's talking about brain type. Now the blood type diet has been debunked. That was come up with by a quack, and we're going to link a video in the references below this video. I'll show you the thumbnail now. That has been totally debunked, okay? No blood type diet. Doesn't exist. Absolute rubbish. Unscientific, okay? Brain type diet. Come on. Really, the mental gymnastics, pardon the pun, that we have to play to try to justify our desire to continue to kill animals to eat their flesh is just unbelievable, isn't it?
My brain type.
Yeah.
Coming from Miley Cyrus.
My brain hurts.
That's right. My brain type is, I can't stand this anymore. Coming from someone who's been on drugs since 12 or 13 or whatever. Now she's worried about what brain type she has. Oh my God.
Our genetics may differ, but our biology is the same. I'm going to talk about more about that in a moment.
Can I add something else here,
please.
just in terms of like health? The irony is that having fish is probably one of the most unhealthy things you can put in your body. When we take fish from our oceans are filthy. Our oceans are polluted. There's sewage waste. There's pollution from industrial waste.
There's heavy metals like mercury, which is very high in fish, and that's sometimes sits at the base of the brain there, at the base of the skull.
And isn't Alzheimer's linked to fish?
Potentially.
Some studies, it's not a healthy thing to put into your body.
Yeah, PCBs.
There are aspects of what's in fish that are healthy for us, like what we're talking about. But you can get that from a supplement without taking a life and without putting all that other crap into your body and without contributing to the destruction of our oceans and the environment. Fishing is such a destructive industry, and we will link things in the description so you can do your research, see what it's doing to the planet.
And then
it's awful.
Nutrients also aren't isolated. So when you eat fish, you're not just getting the omega-3s, you're also getting all of the residues that come out of the ocean, like you said, the heavy metals, the PCBs, all of the untreated sewage that we put in there. And of course, the fish are just like filters, aren't they, of the oceans. And but you're also getting artery clogging saturated fat and cholesterol, as well as animal protein, which raises IGF-1 levels and promotes the proliferation of cancer cells. So you're putting yourself at an increased risk of developing some of our leading causes of death, like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and some forms of cancer, all just to get some omega-3, which you could have got from a plant-based algae supplement, given that the fish are getting the omega-3 from the algae in the first place. It makes no sense, does it?
Which you may not even need once you got sober and cleaned up your lifestyle.
And started eating enough calories from the right sources.
You may have found that you're actually functioning quite well. So
it's infuriating.
It really is, because there's no need for it. And it's not just one person that does this, right? Because she's so famous, she tarnishes veganism.
Yeah. And I've got a point on that in a minute.
Okay.
Actually.
Well, I'll come back to it.
Keep going.
And there are so many people who will flip-flop just because they see a celebrity do this or that and they're fans of hers. We need to start focusing on the animals, not what these celebrities do. It's just insane to me that people will just, oh, here's something from Miley. Who the hell is Miley Cyrus? I did a Google search, like looking for stuff just this morning actually. I typed in Miley Cyrus, my brain doesn't function. And you should have seen all of the news articles. It just went on and on. I just went, oh. So now it's, you know, veganism did this to my brain. How bad is that? For all of us, obviously vegans that have to, you know, refute this, but more importantly, for the animals.
The vegans are not the victims. No one here are the victims except the animals.
Exactly. It just is. Oh.
Now, just on that point, I might as well bring it up.
Yeah.
We weren't going to supposed to address it until later, but at one point in her interview with Joe, she says, listen, I give home, I have 22 animals on my farm in Nashville. I've got 22 in my house in Calabasas. Like, I'm doing what I need to do for the animals, okay? And the tone was very...
It was like, I do what I need to do for the animals.
It was very aggressive, wasn't it? It was very definitive and, you know, it was aggressive. It was kind of like the best defense is attack.
Yeah, I'm not going to take the crap that vegans are going to dish out to me. I do my part.
So, Miley, yes, you are taking care of those 44 animals, which is great. Yes, you've saved the lives of millions of animals by promoting veganism for 6 years to your huge following. But now you're going to be responsible for millions of animals being killed. Yeah. Think about this. Even if 1% of your 115 million Instagram followers were to now eat fish once a week, for example, because you now do and you've said you need it for omega-3s for proper brain function, and 1%, that's not very unrealistic, is it?
No, not at all.
That's over 1 million fish being killed every week because of your negligence. Their blood is now on your hands. Now, do you still think you're doing what you need to do for the animals okay? Are you still going to have that sassy attitude now that you think about it in those terms? But you don't think about it in those terms because you're selfish and a speciesist. And it's frankly sickening. It's absolutely sickening. In 2020, with all we know and all that you know in particular, it's just disgusting. I'm disgusted.
Well said. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you think we're getting worked up here, how would you like someone to advocate to defend your life? That's all you have to do. Put yourself in the victim's position, and then you'll think, oh, maybe I shouldn't shoot the messenger. This is coming off seemingly a little harsh. Maybe I'd want someone fighting for my life and to protect the right to my life the way we're speaking now.
Yeah. It's very different when you're the one being murdered.
That's it.
Okay, for something as silly as this, when you can take a supplement if you have an issue.
Exactly. Excuse me, can I grab some?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you need any more?
A little bit, just a little bit. Okay.
So at one point, Joe was, at one point, he was mocking vegans quite a lot. He said, you know, you need to eat more celery. I think he was mocking what a vegan would say.
Yeah.
In response to Miley's...
Does this look like celery, Joe?
Yeah.
Does this look like celery? Because this is plant chicken,
and we have burgers and sausages and pizza and lasagna and pasta and pies and anything you currently eat, you can eat in the vegan version.
To be honest, I can't even remember the last time I had celery because I don't like it. But the point is, yes, you should be eating celery, whether you're a carnist or a vegan, okay, because it's healthy, or you're eating your veggies and your fruit, you know, you should be eating that stuff. But his inference was like, it's like, you know, you eat grass. So that's what he was getting on about. Just go and eat your grass. So, and he was totally lapping up the whole interview. He was loving it. He has the moral compass of a rock. You know, That's
being mean to the rock.
He just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. All he saw was dollar signs, probably like, this is going to be the best episode. Up you vegans. This is just going to blow up in the internet, and it happened on my podcast show. Can't stand him.
He's a huge animal abuser.
Oh, he's disgusting.
And promoter of animal abuse.
And he took every chance he could to put veganism down in this interview. Leading questions, he's revolting. He was not critical, and he took everything she said on face value. So, for example, he didn't even state the obvious, as we said earlier, by saying, oh, Miley, do you think it could have been the fact that, you know, you've been on all these drugs for such a long time and now you're sober and now you feel better? Oh, no. He didn't make that connection at all. He didn't even suggest that in a polite way. Just totally moved on with, oh, yeah, you know, you needed vegans. They're too hard to get on a vegan diet, blah, blah, blah. It's just so dismissive. He even said, because she was like, oh, I follow all these vegan bodybuilders and I do everything. Like, she was like, oh, I do everything by the book, basically. No, you obviously didn't. And he says, oh, you can't even follow those vegan bodybuilders. Totally writes them off because they're all on steroids. Well, he has been taking steroids for at least a decade. Vegan Gains, Richard's video, he showed a clip where Joe Rogan actually said that. So he's taking steroids. Most bodybuilders take steroids, whether they're vegan or not. That's beside the point.
Well, the thing is, the majority of bodybuilders are non-vegans.
That's right.
And do you think every single one of them is not taking... I mean, if the whole steroid industry relied solely on vegan bodybuilders, when vegans represent 1% of the total population and vegan bodybuilders even less...
That would be out of business yesterday.
So it's you yourself take them and you're not vegan, Joe. So
the point is, he was just taking every opportunity he could to bag veganism.
And that really annoyed me, that whole point there, because he had... Is it James Wilks? Is that the name of the director of the Game Changers?
Is that him?
I feel like it's James Wilks. I'm sorry if I've got the name wrong. If you haven't watched it, check it out now on Netflix. Apparently it is potentially the most viewed documentary on Netflix of all time.
Yeah. My mum and dad watched it, apparently.
Yeah.
Shout out mum and dad.
Yeah, absolutely. And people around the world have watched it and gone vegan or adopted a plant-based diet as a result. And that showcases heaps of vegan athletes from all different fields. And he had James Wilks on the show because Joe's little puppet, Chris Kessler, I can never remember his surname.
I always think of the car. Is it a
Tesla?
No, the other one.
Chrysler. Anyway, Chris Kessler or whatever his name is, he did a debunking of the Game Changers when it came out on Netflix. So anyway, James, the director of Game Changers, went on Joe's show to rebut Chris's debunking. I do that in air quotes. And anyway, he absolutely smashed it and debunked every attempted debunking or refuted every attempted debunking over the course of almost...
Debunked the debunking.
3 or 4 hours. And Joe was very supportive of James, and he could see that James had his scientific references and his evidence, done his research, and he was acknowledging all of that. And in the end, Chris looked like an idiot, frankly. He looked like an absolute idiot. James refuted everything. Joe agreed with James on almost everything.
And yet here he is with Miley.
As if James had never sat in his studio before and given him that education that he had.
So the point is that he knows. He knows so much.
That's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
It is disgusting. It is, absolutely.
But, you know, it brings me to another point. It's good for Joe's business because the vast majority of people are carnists and a lot of his audience is anti-vegan, and they look to Joe to entertain them with his anti-vegan jibes and his mocking. And so it's really, really good for business. I mean, his podcast show was sold to Spotify for like $100 million or something like that. And sometimes celebrities do this to make their lives easier, to earn more money. Like I was thinking about Miley. I'm speculating here, I have no proof, but Chanel, she wears a lot of Chanel products, right? A lot of Chanel products. Now, do you think she's just doing that because she likes it, or do you think Chanel says, you know, can you wear that?
She's sponsored.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is she wearing? Leather?
A lot of Chanel products are made from animal skins. Okay. So it makes Miley's life. I'm not saying that they don't have any
faux
products. Yeah, faux animal products in their collections, but it's predominantly animal based. So it's going to make Miley's life a hell of a lot easier, isn't it? To just accept this sponsorship. And wear this and that and the other.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right. And
there's a lot of greed is what I'm getting at. There's selfishness and there's greed. And it's sickening. And apathy.
But also, I was thinking, like, why did Joe get her on the show right now? Why didn't he get her on, you know, a year ago as a vegan? Is there any coincidence there? I don't think so. Because they started speaking about it pretty early on in the show. I think it was like around the 20-minute mark or something. So Coincidence that she came out as, you
Good
know,
point.
going back to eating animals on his show, the most anti-vegan, because he's a hunter, right?
Yeah.
And just, I would not be surprised if he knew and wanted to tee that up and it's like, yeah, it's going to break on my show, it's going to go viral, and it's just more promo and money for him. Disgusting.
Disgusting. She said she's experimenting a lot with her diet and exercise regime, as you mentioned before, and that the prospect of leaving veganism is terrifying.
Not as terrifying as it is for the animals
Exactly.
who are going to be killed because of you,
Exactly.
Miley.
That's terrifying. Again, you're not the victim, Miley. We're not the victims. Vegans in general are not the victims. The victims are the innocent, vulnerable animals. Okay? Now, Joe told Miley that vegans would come after her for admitting she now eats animals, and the singer replied that they will come for her, but it's okay as she is used to people coming for me. No, you're coming for the animals. Vegans aren't coming for you. You're coming for the animals, Miley. Okay?
If you think responses on social media is terrifying and people coming after you, you got no idea. Go to a slaughterhouse. You know, the reason people are coming after you is because you have just told the world with your massive following that your brain isn't functioning properly as a vegan.
Millions of fish a week could now be killed potentially, as I discussed earlier,
Yeah.
as I pointed out earlier, because of your negligence.
And it puts doubt in people's minds. Maybe somebody was, you know, curious about transitioning their diet. Then they hear it from you and they go, well, I don't want to, you know, have brain problems like Miley Cyrus. She's one of so many other celebrities and influencers that I hear all the time have these health problems. So I don't think it's for me. My brain's different, my blood type's different, I'm this, I'm that, and all of a sudden we end up with this continuous hell where trillions of animals are bred into existence, tortured, mutilated, and ultimately murdered in killing factories.
Or billions are bred that way, and trillions in total if you include those that
Includes sea
are
life.
pulled from the ocean
Yeah.
that are wild, for example.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Billions, trillions.
I mean,
you know,
honestly.
come on.
Yeah.
One is too many.
Yeah.
Miley says, but when it comes to my brain, and she says to Joe, you're not vegan. You can't be vegan and living this kind and being this quick. She's referring to
Him.
his line of work.
I mean,
Please. You just had James Wilkes, if that was his name, in the studio not all that long ago, who schooled both you and Chris on plant-based nutrition. Absolutely schooled you both. Who's quick? You know, like...
she says, so yeah, like, sure,
But sure
some
you
people can,
Yeah.
but I cannot.
And
Like-
this is a big issue
problem.
here. The idea that we're somehow different. Now, as I said earlier, our genetics may differ, but our biology is the same. And that's why the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has a position statement, which I'd like to just read out now, just to dispel a lot of the doubt and confusion that Miley has created, and other social media influencers like Kalal, Bonnie Rebecca, Rilvana, Aurora Lyman, Tim Sheep, John Venus, the list goes on and on, have also created. So you might be wondering, who is the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics? Is that like a vegan organisation? Well, they're the world's largest organisation of food and nutrition professionals. They represent more than 100,000 credentialed practitioners, and they're not a vegan organisation. In fact, when I went to their website to get this screenshot, the very first thing was about eating slightly rare meat on the homepage, right? They're not a vegan organisation. But they do have a position statement, which I'd like to read now. It is the position of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics that appropriately planned vegetarian, including vegan, diets are healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may provide health benefits for the prevention and treatment of certain diseases. These diets are appropriate for all stages of the life cycle, including pregnancy, lactation, infancy, childhood, adolescence, older adulthood, and for athletes. Okay, now there is no asterisk there that says, oh, except for Miley Cyrus, whose brain type is different, she's excluded from this. This doesn't apply to her. Science doesn't apply to Miley. Miley's like, you know, just, it really annoys me. This is the science, people. This is the science from the people in the know who have... I can't.
Basically, don't follow Miley Cyrus or any other celebrity or any other social media influencer.
That position statement has been there since 2016, and mind you, the Academy was formerly called something else, and when they were formerly called something else, they had exactly the same position statement put out in 2009. So for over a decade, they've held this position. Like, come on. We've mentioned it in so many of our videos.
Okay, so are we done with Miley's brain?
I'm done with Miley's brain.
So onto her hips, because she also complained about having very, very, very painful hips. And Joe says, well, you know, that's inflammation. Now the irony is that animal products increase inflammation. This is why so many athletes switch to a plant-based diet, not for ethics, but simply because it lowers their inflammation and it helps them recover from injury faster so they can train more, so they have that edge on their competitors, which is what the Game Changers was about. So introducing animal products like fish for something like painful hips due to inflammation is... You've got to be kidding me. How is that helping the problem? That is, if anything, adding to the problem.
And it's not just improving recovery time from injuries, but it's improving recovery time from workouts.
Yes.
So you don't even have to be injured to get benefits. You can recover more quickly from workouts because plant-based diets based around whole plant foods have been shown to reduce oxidative stress caused from working out, from exercising.
So I don't know how she thinks that eating, you know, a dead body from the ocean is going to help her hips. Just eat your plants.
And with everything that's in the ocean, as you mentioned earlier, that fish absorb, isn't that only going to promote inflammation?
It's not going to help.
Certainly not going to be anti-inflammatory.
No. Are we done with this?
No, we're done.
Is there anything else?
No, we're done. I'm totally done.
It's exhausting. It's really bad. I'm sad and I'm angry that she came out the way she did on such a huge platform, and just to see all of those news articles when I did a Google search was scary and sad and sickening. It's awful. I don't know what else to say. Done. Watch Dominion. Everything's linked down below under this video. Educate yourself about the real victims. There's so much information about how to eat a healthy plant-based diet, all the health benefits, which, you know, there are so many different ways to eat a vegan diet, just like there are so many ways to eat a non-vegan diet. You can be healthy, you can be unhealthy. Focusing on whole plant foods, as we spoke about throughout this video, is what's going to help you function well long term and feel good. But there are other factors involved. What time are you going to bed? Are you doing exercise? How much stress in your life? Are you taking drugs? So many other things that can affect how we physically feel, emotionally, how our brain functions. But if you think that eating plants is going to be negative for your brain and you have to eat the dead bodies of animals and secretions to help your brain function, I just can't. I just can't. That's not the case. Follow the science. Look at the resources that Luke has linked for you. And also take a supplement if you need to. That's the bottom line, that none of this has to happen. She didn't have to do any of this. She just had to take an algae supplement.
And if you need any help transitioning to a vegan diet, you can do Challenge 22, which we've got a link for in the description box below this video. You could look at the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine's 21-day Kickstarter program. I believe Colin Patrick Gaudreau has a 30-day program. There are so many. Just Google them. You can do Veganuary. It doesn't even have to be January for you to do it. Does it?
No, I don't think so.
So many challenges, so many programs offering free support.
That's right. There's really no excuse. No excuse. And if you don't need it, I mean, how hard is it to just go to the supermarket and buy anything that doesn't come from an animal? No flesh, no secretions. Okay?
And if these type of products aren't available where you live, well, there was plenty of plant foods on this plate as well that are available worldwide, and that's why, you know, a plant-based diet is often referred to as a peasant diet, because it's eaten by the world's poorest populations, because it's based around calories that are cheap, like rice, the cheapest calorie on the planet, potatoes, corn, you know,
legumes.
Wheat. Yeah, exactly. Beans, that's right.
You know, if you don't have that kind of chicken available, you can have, you know, there's tofu or there's tempeh, there's other, you know, substitutes that you can put great sauces on and marinades and countless recipes online. There's just so much support. It's 2020. Seriously. right? Anyway, I'm done.
That's it. Let us know what you thought. Had you heard about Miley's bombshell? Was this news to you?
And please share this video to help others learn the truth about what's going on here and to give them an alternative opinion and not just follow what Joe Rogan and Miley Cyrus say.
Yeah.
Which is so unfortunate that these two people have more influence than virtually any vegan. I mean, you know, when we're saying like don't trust anyone. Joaquin Phoenix, obviously. Activist, trust. Moby, activist, trust. Aside from those two, Rooney Mara, I guess, Joaquin's wife, sure. But I really wouldn't go near anybody else. I just, you know, forget it. Forget what the celebrities are doing. Watch Dominion, follow the science. That's it.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. As we said, leave your comments down below. Give the video a like and share it around, as Natasha said.
Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Remember, until next time, that going vegan is not the most we can do.
It's the least we can do. See you next video.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.